so we're live now. Welcome everyone to today's event. So I would like to introduce our speaker, Gerardo. He's located in Chile, and he's going to share his experience working in airline domain. How are you doing, Gerardo?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon for you, I believe. I'm fine,
Yeah.
thank you.
So that's good. Just let me tell you the agenda of our today's event. So first, we'll hear the wonderful speech of Gerardo, and then at the end we will have some time for the questions. So please be active in chat and be sure to add the questions. So we will answer them. Good. So let's start then. I'll passing my word to Gerardo and sharing the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Katerina. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I will try to use this presentation to explain some customer-centric problem and how do we proceed to solve it. Okay, so first of all, this is the content for the presentation, little introduction about myself, and little introduction to the domain and project problems. A little discussion regarding that, what means customer-centric, and an explanation about the problems that have both for the internal company, let's say that the company that hire us, and finally the end user about the company that hire us. And of course, at the end, we will have a little space for question and answer. So, as you already know, my name is Gerardo Fries. I am a lead business analyst at EPAM since 2022. I have more than 20 years of experience in IT and more than 12 years experience in customer-facing positions. Also in sales, as a business analyst, business development, and everything related to relation with the customer. And I am originally from Argentina, but I am based in Chile since 2020. First of all, the project domain. The project was the digital transformation for a major airline in South America. And just for let you know, this airline transport 74 million passengers during 2023. They're attending 1,347 flights per day in 137 different airports, and they have more than 50,000 employees in the world. For face this project, we need to deal with between 450 and 500 individuals that were organized in almost 10 teams, right? And for understand how was the dynamic in this work, every team was had included a product lead and a business expert from the client side. So the first things that we can see here is that we had two different cultures working together in small teams, right? Also, we divide this project by verticals, taking in account which part of the flow we are attending. For example, the part of the booking and ticket purchase, additional purchase, any change that you want to perform in your order after you pay the ticket, etc., etc. And also, we had a division based on the functionality. We have some teams that was in charge of the front end. We had some teams in charge of the back end. And also we have two teams that were in charge of interacting with third-party vendors. And for complete this division, we need to implement some cross-functional governance teams at the product, at the design, at the technological levels. Okay, let's talk a little about customer-centric. And when we discuss or we are talking about customer-centric, we need to ask one question to ourselves. Who is the customer that we need to focus on? The company that hires us or the end user of the company that hires us? And as a spoiler alert, we need to take in account both customer-centric visions. Bien? Okay, so we start working with this customer and we start facing some internal customer problem. The how to say that one of the biggest troubles that we afford was the significant difficulties that the customer has delegating responsibilities. They don't trust in us. They don't know how to work in an agile mindset. So that gives to us a lot of problem with this kind of behavior, right? For example, when we start the sprint working, they attempt to change the scope of the stories. They sit next to the developer and say, hey, no, instead of do this, you need to do this. And we also had the problem that the developer, instead of say, hey, no, it's not the way to work, he agreed with the customer and made the change. Okay. Also, we face the problem that misunderstanding of the roles, right? For example, because they have a better feeling with the design team, they ask for solution belonging to the business side to the design team. And that was a huge problem that we need to afford. So all this situation and all this confusion result in anger and mistreatment from the client at the end of each sprint. So how to proceed to solve this? First of all, we request help for an agile coach to instill the methodology in the customer. It's very important to synchronize the way to work with the customer. We need to remember, we come from two different worlds, and we need to reach some agreement on how to work in order to work properly. In the other hand, every business analyst began work closely with the DPL and BEX, the digital product lead and the business expert. And at the beginning, they need to show them how many time we waste taking account to the change and to comments that they are requesting without following the framework, right? Also, we start demonstrating that we know how to work, right? So after showing the different errors that we commit under the first sprint, we show in the next sprint that working, following the framework, it's better than the way that the customer has in his mind. Also, the chapters of product design and technology were establish a bi-weekly meeting in order to be sure that every team was working aligned with the goal of the company. Okay, so with this also give to the customer a space to share his concerns and what they are thinking, and in this way we could put in our customer shoes to understand his pain points. Doing these actions, we start work together and in a good way with the customer. But be aligned with the customer that hire us. Don't result. It's not the only thing that we need to do to achieve the goal, right? So now that we already solved the problem with the customer who hire us, we need to focus in the end user problem, right? And taking in account this domain, this airline domain, was a complicated domain because we are dealing with a multiple type of end users, right? We have users that born in a digital generation. We have users that are born in an analogic generation. And of course, each generation has his different habits and how to say that they need different things in order to operate in a good manner, right? The other problem that we found, the other issue, was a difficulty and slowness when you need to manage your reservation, right? If you need to add an extra or select your seat or modify a flight, was a really hard process to the end customer. Also, of course, when you have a flow or you have a process, you define a happy path. But we deal with a lot of situations that deviate from the standard protocol that was very complicated to solve. And the final problem that this customer has was the inefficiency in the contact center. Sometimes you need to make up to 3 calls in order to solve one problem. And each call has a long duration. And this is a pain point for both sides because from the customer or the end user side, it's a problem if you need to make 3 calls to solve a problem. And from the airline side, it's a problem because they pay for each call that they receive and the time that that call have of duration. So it's complicated for both sides. So how to solve these problems? First of all, in collaboration with the user experience team, we define 3 different mindset that were identified for design the solution: an analogic person, and a digital person, and the experienced traveler. So with these 3 mindset, we think that we can cover 95% of the scenarios that we can find. Actually, we start working in the point of friction. We add an additional layer of abstraction that allows us to manage in a simple way situations like buy a new bag or select my seat, etc., etc. We think out of the box. We deal with the standard of the industry, and we change the way to work in this. Also, we perform a process revision about every process that the company has, and we eliminate all the bureaucracy, and we put a customer first mindset in all the process. For example, if you had an exceptional situation where you need to change your ticket, but the fare that you buy don't allow to change, we simplify the process to request an exception. And we put in the end customer shoes, and we think, hey, if this person is facing an extra difficult situation, we need to be more empathy with this person, and we need to make easy all the process that they need to afford. Combining these different techniques, we reach great results. Because we, for example, we take some service with the customer, and we notice that the final feeling of the end customer was better after our change. They feel more comfortable with the airline, feel more happy with the airline, and this kind of result also was reflected in the increase of the sale of tickets and the sales of conversion. When you have when you are working for an airline, you know that most of the people try to make some search from some originate or some destiny, but for every people that are searching for a route, the conversion, the person that finally buy a ticket, it's less than 5%. Okay, so with this change, we also reach the goal to increase the conversion from 5% to 10%. And also we reach the objective to have less communication with the contact center, and also we reach the objective to solve every situation that the customer has with only one call to the contact center. So I believe that it's all. I don't know, Katerina, if we have some questions or.
Let me check. For now, I haven't had any. So let's see.
Let me clarify that English is not my first language, so sorry if I commit some mistakes.
Have you shared your contacts in case someone has any questions after the webinar?
There is visible that it's my email address and my phone number if you need to contact.
Good, thank you. So we can follow the following. If anyone has questions, they can contact you via email. But I see there is one question. So it is, did you see these metrics to measure the project results from the very beginning? Did you set those metrics from the beginning?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Sure. Did you set these metrics to measure the project results from very beginning?
I don't know if I understand the question, but if the question is that if we can show the result at the beginning of the change, the answer is yes. Was impressive the difference between applying this customer-centric methodology to the customer. For example, as I say, the original MVP was planned to go to production in 10 sprints, right? So we have some delays in the first 2 sprints when we detect this problem with the customer. We apply the change and we can reach the original estimation to reach production in 10 sprints. And from the customer side, yes, as soon we apply the change, for example, we noticed that the number of calls to the contact center was even better than expected. We expect to, for example, make every call in average of 15 minutes, and we reach an average of 12 minutes for each call. So was very good, the implementation of this change.
Okay, thank you, Gerardo. One more question we have. What was the team setup in this project, specifically from a BA side?
Sorry, can you repeat? I couldn't hear.
Sure. What was a team setup in this project, specifically from a BA side?
Yes, every team has one BA, right? I speak about the 10 different teams. Every team has his own BA, But also we have a transversal chapter of product composed by one of these VAs that not only has the responsibility of working his team, he also needs to be focused in all the rest of the team to be sure that everything is aligned with the original OKRs. So 10 VAs for 10 teams. That is the setup for the different teams. Of
Wow,
course,
yeah.
it's a live project, right? So you see that when the project is running, sometimes you need to change something, you need to add some VAs, you need to release some VAs, right? So you need to see the progress sprint by sprint and understand how these VA are performing his work.
Good. So thank you for your answer. The rest are just thanks for the great webinar. And oh, there is another one. How did you decide on the BA approach for the project?
How you decide the BA approach?
How did you decide on the BA approach? I think what BA approach have you used and why you made this decision?
It's complicated. that question is complicated because sometimes you commit mistake, right? But the first thing that we need to that we will look and decide which BA will work with us was to see if they have the customer-centric vision, right? So sometimes as you know, when we have different interviews to see if we fit or not in a project, a lot of people focus on if you know the theory, if you know some methodology, if you know some, if you can use some tools, right? But in this case, we focus on understanding if you have a customer-centric view, if you have common sense to solve some different situations, and that was the insight that we used to select which VAs we work with us.
Yeah, thank you. So another question we have, how the work in the airlines industry was different from any other industries? What the key differences you could highlight?
Yes, the key difference is that you are working in the industry that has many, many years, and the core system for an airline don't change with the time. So the majority, for not say all the airlines, have a core system called Sabre or Amadeus that is a GDS. That it's like you have centralized all the information related to availability of a flight, right? And this core system belongs to a third party, and you need to adapt to what they decide the way to work. For example, if you want to, in the majority of the airline, if you want to book a flight, you need to put the point of origin, the destination, right? The date when you want to travel, how many passengers, and after that, you are requested to fill all your personal data. And that is annoying, right? Because you don't want to fill a lot of information about you if you are not sure if you will buy the ticket, right? Because you don't know the price, and it's a standard from the industry. So in this case, we made some change, and we think out of the box in order to show you, to allows you to go through all the process and you know the price before start asking to you to personal information. And was very demand because the standard industry request to you to put your personal data at the first. So that is different from other industries. In other industries, maybe you can innovate and you depend on only on you. In this kind of project, you depend of third-party vendors.
Okay, thank you. Let's give the last 10 seconds for the last question. So if
Okay.
anyone wants to ask something else, so we still have time. If not, as said before, you can contact Gerardo afterwards. See. Okay, do not see any other questions. So it seems like we can wrap up our session.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and thank you, Gerardo, for this interesting use case you shared.
Thank you for the invitation, Katerina, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.